People who watch Gold Rush are probably familiar with Parker Schnabel, the young mining genius who has made a lot of money by working hard and never giving up. There's no denying how smart he is with money. On the other hand, his story of personal heartbreak and disaster lies beneath the shiny surface of his success. Let's take a trip through Parker Schnabel's time on Gold Rush and look at the problems he faced and the people he lost that changed his life. Parker Schnabel was born on July 20, 1994, in Haines, Alaska. He grew up in an area with a long history of gold digging. Nancy and Roger Schnabel, his parents, and his brother Payson all had deep roots in the business. Parker's early life was shaped by the allure of gold. His mother, Nancy, was a home-based caregiver, and his father, Roger, worked in the family's mine business. When he was only 5 years old, his grandfather, who started Big Nugget Mine, showed him how to use big machinery. This started a lifelong love of mining in him. Parker had big plans from a very young age. He wanted to go to college and get a formal education in mining. Parker went to elementary school in Akel and then moved on to high school in Haines, where he did very well in sports, especially basketball, and became very popular with his peers. His first goal was to learn more about geology and mines, which were both important to the family business and interested him. But things changed. Parker didn't let the fact that he didn't go to college stop him from reaching his goals. In the mining business, the Schnabel family had a good name. His father, Roger, and Grandpa John were both well-known names. Their business was called Big Nugget, and it did a lot of digging and building. Parker learned a lot about the mining business during these formative years. He was lucky enough to spend the summers learning from his grandpa. Parker, who was only 16, took over running the family mine and business when his grandfather's helper quit. He did an amazing job of it. He not only kept the business going, but he also took it to new levels. Parker didn't go to college as planned. Instead, he used the money he had saved for college to start his own mining company when he was 18. After that, he went to the Klondike, a famously rich area in Canada that had gold. During the Klondike Gold Rush, which ran from 1896 to 1899, the area became well known. Gold has been dug in the area ever since, with only a short break in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Parker found gold in his first season in the Klondike. He found an amazing 1,029 ounces worth over $1.4 million. It was clear right away that the young man had an amazing knack for finding valuable things. Many experienced miners wish they had that skill. Parker got land to dig gold from the famous and legendary Tony Beats. By the time he was 24, Parker had found more than $13 million worth of gold. Parker finished college in the end, but he chose to do it a few years after high school, while still working as a gold miner and investing in other mines. Many people thought he would keep studying after he graduated from college. Parker instead did something brave and put money into making his own TV show. Some people didn't trust his choice because they thought things might not go well, but as Gold Rush kept getting more and more watchers, they were shown to be wrong. For several seasons, the show went on because people wanted to see more. Parker, who is always coming up with new ideas, told his family about his plan for his own TV show. They agreed, which was good, and they told the Discovery Channel about it. The network leaders weren't too excited about it at first, but in the end, they agreed to give it a try. Discovery didn't know how well the show would do, so they only gave each episode $10,000 at the start of the season. But as the show became more famous, the budget for making it grew a lot. Today, the network spends millions of dollars every year on Parker and the other workers' pay, as well as on making and advertising the show. Following family-run mine companies as they looked for gold in the Klondike region of Canada and Alaska, Gold Rush turned into a hit TV show. There were 12 seasons, and earlier seasons also had mining trips to South America and Western North America. Gold Rush has grown its world, with new shows like The Dirt and The After Show, which offer more interviews and video from behind the scenes. In addition, they have long episodes called Pay Dirt that are full of extra facts and even more mining action. They changed things up with The Dirt Home Edition during the pandemic to show how the talk shows could help. In Season 2, John Parker gave Parker the Big Nugget Mine because he wanted to pass it on to his grandchildren. During Season 1, John was a big help by giving advice and tips. Parker spent Seasons 2 and 3 looking for more gold at the Big Nugget Mine. But when the gold that was easy to get ran out, he moved his business to the Yukon, beginning with Season 4. A Dutch-Canadian gold miner named Tony Beets has been an important part of the show since Season 4. He owns the Scribner Creek claim, where Parker worked as a miner that season and runs a successful mining business in the Klondike. Parker's team had the huge task of moving a 75-year-old dredge from Clear Creek to his claim in the Indian River, which was more than 150 miles away in Season 5. It turned out to be a very profitable business, bringing in people like Chris Dumee, who only meant to stay in Alaska for 10 days but ended up gold mining for 5 months. Chris quickly joined Parker's team after leaving another crew, showing how the business has a magnetic pull. Gold Rush quickly became a hit in Alaska, especially as a late-week show that interested both young adults and people in their 40s and 50s. During its second season, it stayed at the top for a number of weeks. Gold Rush set the stage for Discovery Channel's success year after year by getting the most male watchers during key ratings times. For guys, the show quickly rose to become one of the top 3 reality shows on non-sports cable networks. Because of how well the show did, Parker Schnabel became a well-known name. But his impact went beyond mining. Young people all over the world looked up to him as an example of how to be a miner. Parker Schnabel's rise from a young boy in Alaska to a famous global mining star shows how important it is to work hard, be determined, and have a strong desire for gold in Alaska's harsh environment. Because of what he did, Parker now makes $100,000 an episode from his TV shows and is known as one of the richest minds in the world. There were 330 shows of him on Gold Rush from 2010 to 2023. He also acted in and directed Gold Rush, The Dirt, and Gold Rush, Parker's Trail. Parker is successful in more than just mining. He's also a smart businessman who runs his own mining company and just released a line of gold mining gear. His 2 books about his experiences are Gold Rush, My Story, and Parker Schnabel's Gold Rush, Alaska. He is a well-known author. Parker keeps going above and beyond every season, making him a big player in the gold mining business. In the mining world, Parker Schnabel is respected for being a leader and being able to handle tough situations. This has made him one of the most well-known characters on the show. Parker has had some terrible things happen in his personal life, even though he has had a great job. John Schnabel, Parker's grandpa and a very important person in his early life, died peacefully in his sleep in 2016 at the age of 96. John Schnabel's first job was as a paper boy. He bought his family bread and cheese with his first paycheck. He started out working as a logger, but switched jobs to gold mining when he was 68 because his health was getting worse, and his doctor told him to stay busy. After buying the Big Nugget Mine, he took his grandkids, Parker and Payson, with him to share his love of gold mining. His family remembered him by saying, "He was a great dad, grandpa, and family man. He lived a great life, and we appreciate your love and support as we remember him." When Parker Schnabel wrote on Facebook that his grandpa had died after a long illness, everyone was sad. He thought about how great his grandfather was as a father and a grandfather, and he was very thankful for all the help they got during that time. Parker felt very lucky to have shared those times with them. In honor of his grandfather's memory, Parker went on a special trip along the old Yukon-Klondike Trail, which was also called the Chilkoot Trail and was used by gold seekers in the late 1800s. His goal was to really understand what those early miners went through and to feel more connected to that time and to his grandfather. Parker also carried on his grandfather's work by becoming more involved in running the Big Nugget Mine. He talked about his grandfather's business in an interview and said, "Luckily, we had many good years with him, and I've done my best to keep things positive." Even though he wasn't directly involved in mining longer and was more of a figurehead, it was more of a personal honor than a business challenge. Parker, a seasoned mining expert, expertly handled the complicated day-to-day operations of his business. Aside from work, Parker also had to deal with a personal problem when his relationship with Ashley Oul ended. In 2016, they met in Australia while Parker was on vacation, and their friendship turned into a love relationship. When Ashley played a veterinary nurse on Season 6 of Gold Rush, her presence was felt all the way through. Even though they had a spark at first, they couldn't work out their differences, which led to their breakup in 2018. Parker's fans were shocked when they heard this, and he admitted that they broke up, saying that he couldn't put the relationship first. Some people thought Parker might be dating another miner after he posted a picture of himself with Sheena on Instagram on August 11th, 2018. At the time, though, neither Parker nor Sheena said anything about these rumors. Parker chose to focus on his mining operations after he and Ashley broke up and stayed single. Aside from his work, he also had personal problems, which became especially clear while shooting his show, Parker's Trail. Parker talked about how hard the project was on his mind in an interview. The project involved visiting the Alaskan wilderness and retracing the steps that gold miners took in the past. He stressed how important it was to have a helpful team for such projects, but he also admitted that working with the same 4 people for a month, his foreman Rick Ness, wilderness guide Carla Ann, cameraman James Level, and himself, was very hard. Parker usually likes being alone, so having someone with him all the time was hard for him. "I could forget about being hungry or cold because I didn't lose any toes or fingers," he thought. "The real battle was in my mind." It was especially hard to get Rick Ness to join the team because he had a different living and workout routine. But this was only the first of many problems Parker would have to deal with. Parker had a major health scare while working in one of the world's greatest mines during Season 6 of Gold Rush. He got very sick from the high altitude, which happens when you go up more than 8,000 feet too quickly. Discovery on TikTok said that the situation can make it very hard to do things. For the part of the trip in South America, Parker needed an IV drip because his condition was so bad. In an exciting part of Gold Rush, Parker's Trail, Parker was seen throwing up, which made his team very worried. In the comments, fans showed their support and sent their best wishes, hoping for a quick recovery. The Gold Rush crew kept going even though there were problems, like when the on-site doctor said the trip might have to end early if Parker's condition didn't get better. Parker later had a positive post on Instagram about his trip through South America, calling it the best adventure ever despite the rough weather. He told them how much he liked the country, the people, and the gold they were looking for. The crew also went into a dangerous underground mine that Parker said felt like it was from another world. They had even more trouble finding their way through the South American jungle, where Parker warned them about the risks of the heat and the animals that could kill them. Parker chose not to take many extra safety measures while he was in Guyana, even though there were risks there. In comparison to Alaska, where machines do more of the work, he said that the work there was much harder on the body. In Guyana, everything had to be done by hand, which was very different from how he usually did things. Parker said it was a lot like the gold rush in Dawson City 120 years ago. It's interesting that the biggest problem for him in the bush wasn't the hard work or the malaria, but the huge spiders that were the size of dinner plates. He said, "I was familiar with bears and felt comfortable around them. But how do you tell if a spider is scared?" The team was lucky that they didn't have any dangerous experiences with these spiders and made it back home safely. When they got back, though, Parker found that there was more competition in the mining business. In Season 13, which started in 2022, Parker Schnabel had to deal with a lot of competition from other miners who were also looking for gold. Even though the competition was tough, he didn't seem to mind. He did admit that his friends were having a hard time. As he put it, "The world is messed up." It's said that Rick Ness might not even come back. Tony Beats is having trouble with red tape, and Fred's lack of knowledge could be a problem. A lot of people have come and gone, but we're still here. The situation was definitely bad, with rising fuel prices, supply problems, and falling gold prices. There were also people on the gold rush who were having money problems and needed all the gold they could find to stay stable. Parker had to make a big choice. He could cut back on his business, or he could take a big risk and spend millions of dollars to buy more land for mining. Parker's lifestyle isn't like that of a normal millionaire, even though he is very successful. He doesn't have many expensive things or fancy homes. Parker Schnabel said, "We made some money this season, but it's going right back into the ground." When asked how he spends his money, "I mean that we are spending money on new tools to make our business better." Even so, there are reports that Parker bought his dream home in Alaska. The rumored home is very fancy and worth more than $950,000. It has also been said that he owns a house in Porcupine Creek, Alaska, that he paid $1.7 million for. There are 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms in this house, which is said to be over 2,000 square feet. Parker said, "The best part of this BS is that I don't have any house anywhere." When asked about the reports, "I have no home. I don't have a boat, any nice cars, or a nice house. I have a big pricey sandbox instead." Many people are still suspicious, even after what he said, and who could blame them as well? Parker Schnabel has made a lot of money from gold mining. He can now live comfortably and make smart bets outside of mining. The details of his wealth are kept somewhat secret, but it is clear that he is very good at managing his money for long-term success. Since he is rich, it seems unlikely that he could convince others that he hasn't bought a house. It's clear that Parker has his own way of life. He has also said that he likes being alone. He told the truth in an interview, "I don't have time to stay in touch with high school friends. Things are really busy this summer, which is a bad thing. The guys I used to hang out with have moved on, and so have I. I don't have enough time to keep up. That's too bad, but I love what I do, so I guess that's what you give up." Parker Schnabel ended Season 14 of Gold Rush on a high note, solidifying his position as a major player in the gold mining business. Now, in Season 7 of Parker's Trail, he starts a new journey across South America in search of gold, where he faces tough obstacles. Parker is always determined to move forward, so fans can look forward to exciting meetings, snow emergencies, and interactions with local tribes. The next season, which starts in Brazil, will have even more action and challenges as Parker continues his quest to find gold. Parker's journey on Gold Rush is a strong example of what can happen when you work hard, don't give up, and keep going after your dreams. Parker has always been able to get through tough times, from the time he learned the trade from his grandfather to now when he is famous. The hard conditions of mining, his health problems, and the fact that he has lost loved ones show that he is dedicated to his work and has an unbreakable spirit. Parker not only gives hope to people who want to become miners, but he also shows how hard work and desire can lead to success.